Okay, on to the coil button assembly and the trimmers. To test these, I think I got another video showing you how to test these, but we'll do it here just for the grins and shits of it. This bus bar right here is a common point to all the coils at one end. So we're going to put our one of the probes on that, and all of these are independent ones. Whether or not they become active is whether or not the button is pushed in. So starting here on this side, hopefully you can hear that. You can hear that, that one, and that one. Okay, so that's how you know that the connections are still there and there's no open coil to worry about, unless you do something dramatic or traumatic. So we're going to get this cleaned up now. In the meantime, and since let me pick this up and take this out of the stirrup and move it out of my way and go back to regular frame. We got these cleaned up and tidied up and deburred. Deburred gets deboyed. That's all kumbaya. Okay, and then we forget that person behind the curtain there. We did all our little nuts and bolts and whatnots and not what's here, and got them ready to go back on. So I still got to get a couple of grommets for this. We'll do that in the next segment. In the meantime, let me go out here and do let me protect these coils and get the underside and what I can of this side cleared up, and we'll be back. Okay, we got this sucker back together and cleaned up. Now, these washers are about, I don't know, 1/4 inch, maybe they might be 5/16 washers, and I needed 1/4 inch washers because that's what I normally use in here, but I didn't have any. I used them up everywhere else. So, but I did have these, and these here will go right on the shafts without modification. But you're still going to have to do the little bendy thingy on the lower side there to clear this steel frame here where it's sandwiched together, or otherwise your washer is going to be in there cattywampus, and it's going to bind up eventually when you least expect it or don't want it. So anyway, that's what I did in there. In order to keep it from flopping around, I put a little bit of UV glue on both sides of that to help keep it flush and from spinning around on me. Using the 1/4 inch ones, you have to use a rat tail file and do 180-degree filing on both inside the washer, and in order to slip it on the shaft, and that will keep it from spinning on you and getting whoppy jawed in there. So what I always do on all springs, I stretch them out a little bit Stretch them out about another 1/4 inch or thereabouts. Doesn't have to be very much, just longer, so you get a definite recoil from it, so that you get a positive response from the actuation of the switch, or the activation of the push button shaft. I've already went through and squeezed a piece of double-sided emery in between the contacts here and cleaned them up, and everything surface to surface is been lubricated, fine oil. What I did here was sandwich these coils in between 2 stiff pieces of cardboard, and all that cardboard is some of this cardboard you get from suppliers, like this one here. This is part of a stiff cardboard envelope that you get decals in from radio days, and I save all of those because they make great barriers for stuff. And used a little UV glue in here to hold it into place and keep it safe. I'm going to make that dust shield for this thing as soon as I get done with other stuff. So stand by for more. Oh, the one thing I was going to show you. Hey, you might have seen it. You might have heard it in the last video that I had. I'm going to come up here real close. Hopefully you can hear it. I'm going to let me zoom back out. No, other way. There we go. All right. Let me. I'll actuate these push buttons. That is positive. I mean, it's a pronounced click, all right. So she's good to go as soon as we get some clothes on her. Get her dressed for the ball. So now it's on to getting that transformer on the chassis finished, so I can get the chassis finished. So hang in there, more to come. All right, now that we have the push button assembly in tow, and we got the transformer on the chassis, doing a cure job of the poly coating, we'll go ahead and do a down and dirty cleaning of these push buttons. So yeah, now these here, unlike some of the Silvertone and maybe Airline, and definitely some of the older model knobs on the older models, yeah, the brain's working great. Give me some more of that ginkgo. Okay, I got me a buck fly wanting to die. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these out there and throw them in the dip. Oh, dead meat. Hey, you know what they say, they want us to eat bugs. Well, I have the entree. Okay, so let's bag them up and move them out. So we're going to come out here into under the Casbah. Now we're going to take my scrubby brush And we're going to put this over here and put that over there and get this over here. I got to cover all this stuff up. The wind will blow that thing from here to Kingdom Come, and so I got to block it with a brick, and I got to cover it because the sun comes right through the opening right there at high noon, and it will obliterate this tub. So now, some of you have been wondering about my secret mix of dip. All it is simple green and water, a 50-50 mix. That's it, a 50-50 mix. Now what I do is this shit caca poop can really get a little rancid after a few dippings, especially with some of the parts that come off that look really ugly. I mean, I brush a lot of parts, but there's a lot of other stuff that has a bunch of crud on it, and so you see that? I mean, that's like sludge in an oil pan. So what I do is, after about 2 or 3 weeks of doing it, because 2 or 3 weeks, that's like one radio chassis, one radio, and in certain cases maybe 2 radios being cleaned out parts. So what I do is I throw them into my little basket there, my coffee thingy, yeah. And I just dunk them down in. Now, this is the first time I've seen any of these float. First time I've ever seen any of these float. They must not be. There we go. It wasn't getting water inside the thingy, and a chingus there. So we're gonna let that soak in there for about 30 minutes. These, as I was indicating before, the silver toe, some of the silver toes, especially the older ones with the, I don't know what kind of a knob they are, but they're not plastic and they're not wood, and they're not, certainly not whatever these are made from. I can get a close match of these using some clear, some tan Gorilla epoxy, I think it is. It's an epoxy. You inject it and mix it and pour it into your mold, and it'll come out pretty close to the same color. And I can remake these. I have molds for these. That's a piece of cake. I got a lot of molds for a lot of Zenith stuff, but the point I was trying to make 10 minutes ago was the buttons and the knobs on those older radios that aren't epoxy, that aren't plastic, that aren't Bakelite, that aren't, if you leave them in the sauce too long, they'll deform. Even though this simple green is biodegradable, it will deform them. Now, will it deform in water? Yeah, they probably deform in water if you leave them long enough, but you might have to leave them longer than if you would in this. So just to be on the safe side with a lot of the knobs and stuff, especially with some that have embossed text with ink that's inked black, whatever they use, I don't let them sit in here very long before I pull them out and start brushing on them, cleaning them up. So I've blabbed long enough. This is going to be the second upload today. Today is Thursday, the 22nd. And it's about 5 o'clock in the evening, somewhere around there, I would imagine. So, hope everybody had a good week and a pleasant summer solstice. We still haven't reached 100, but I have a feeling we're going to get clobbered here at midsummer. So, I think that's about it for today. Doggy has been up and around a number of times. He has a neck problem. He keeps banging his head trying to get, when he falls down, he tries to right himself like a cat does, and like coiling up and twisting, but he bangs his head against the floor, and you know, he knocks himself silly. You know, we're like me and Doggy, we're a pair. So that's it for today. That's all, folks.